Hi everyone, it's Tara with Secret Bee Studio, and I have a fun new tutorial on how to make this sweet love letter Valentine mini. It looks like an envelope, but it opens up to reveal some super cute spots for photos, mementos, and journaling. I'm using the Simple Stories My Valentine paper collection, which I have used for another project, so I have some scraps on hand, along with the coordinating Simple Basics kit and the 6x8 paper pad. To create our envelope, I will be using a We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board and a scoreboard with the envelope maker corner piece. To create the body of this mini envelope, you will need two pieces of paper. One will be a 12-inch by 12-inch square, and the other will be an 11.5-inch by 11.5-inch square. We will punch and score the 12-inch by 12-inch square paper first to form the body of our mini. Insert one edge of the paper into the envelope punch board and line up the left edge at the 4 3/4 inch mark. Punch first, and then you will notice that we cannot see the score line. So, using a scoring tool, very carefully and slowly find the score line. The guide at the top will help you, but please make sure you score slowly down to just the edge of the board. Don't try to score the entire line right here, as you will tear your paper. Once you have a partial score line, bring in your scoreboard with the corner piece in place. Flip your paper top to bottom and then place it snugly against the corner piece with the top corner at a 6-inch mark. Then find the score line that matches up with the line on the paper. In this case, it is the 9 1/4 inch mark. Finish scoring the entire line on the paper. Then go back to the envelope punch board, flip your paper back over, turn it counterclockwise from the punched notch, and line the score line up with the score guide. Punch the next notch and then go ahead and score the next line, which we can see completely. Once that is done, turn the paper counterclockwise again, punch the notch, and then follow the steps as before to finish scoring this line using your scoreboard. Flip the paper back over, match up the last score line you made, punch the last notch, and finish scoring. We will be doing the exact same process with the 11.5-inch by 11.5-inch square piece of paper, except we'll be using a different measurement when you put it into the envelope punch board. This decorative piece of paper will be the inside liner for our envelope mini. If you're using a highly decorative patterned paper, decide which corners will be the small and the large. When you insert the paper and punch, the top left will end up being a small corner and the top right will end up being a large corner. Insert the paper into the punch board and line up the left edge with the 4 7/8 inch mark. Punch the notch, and again you will see that we cannot see the score line. Very slowly and carefully score to only the edge of the board, being careful not to go too far or you're going to rip your paper. And then use your scoreboard again to finish the line. Flip the paper over top to bottom, fit it snugly against the corner piece, and put the top corner again at the 6-inch mark. Find the coordinating score line, which could be 9 1/8 inch or 9 1/4 inch. Once the line is scored, Continue to use the envelope punch board to finish punching the notches and score lines. So now we are going to cut the 11.5" by 11.5" paper into pieces. I mark all the score lines at the corners with a pencil just to make it easier to see. Cut the large corners first, about 1/8 inch above the score line, meaning once cut, the score line will not be part of this piece. Do this for both large corners. For the small corners, we will be cutting 1/4 inch below the score line, meaning once cut, we want that score line as part of our piece. I line the score line, or the pencil marks, up on my paper trimmer on the right side or opposite side of the cut line at 1/4 inch and then cut. This way we will have a 1/4 inch overhang beyond that score line. Do this for both small corners and then fold at this score line. Trim off any excess and erase any pencil marks that are left. For the remaining large piece of paper, you just need to trim the remaining score lines from the long edges. Take the large 12" by 12" piece of paper and fold on all of the score lines using a bone folder if you want to get a crisp edge. Decide which sides will be the outside and the inside. I'm choosing the white for the inside of my mini envelope album. Then take all of the corner pieces that you just cut and decide how you want them on the inside of the mini. Once that is decided, we will be placing the small corner pieces first using your favorite adhesive on the small scored edge. If using score tape, it's always a good idea to burnish them really well with a bone folder so that you can remove that adhesive backing much easier. When you place the adhesive side down, make sure you put it just on the inside edge of the score line so that once placed, it doesn't interfere with the outside piece folding up. Do this for both sides. Depending on your corners, you may have a bit of the inside paper showing once the side corners are folded up. You can certainly trim this if you would like, but it won't show once the whole envelope is folded together. The large corners can be adhered directly to the inside of the mini using your favorite adhesive. You will see here in a bit that I change adhesives partway through. Not a big deal. The last piece to adhere is the large rectangle in the center. And after placing mine, I thought it was a bit small and I wanted a different pattern to show. So I measured the center area and then cut another pattern piece of paper to 6 3/8 inches by 9 1/4 inches. I adhered that piece into place. I get all of my decorative embellishment pieces close to my project and then decide how I want to close my envelope mini. You could use a colorful piece of ribbon around the entire envelope, which would be a really cute touch. You could also use Velcro fasteners on the flaps, or as I do, use small magnets to hold it closed. I make sure to get the correct sides of the magnets together and then mark the opposite sides with a permanent marker so I know to adhere them mark side down. I use glossy accents as it holds super well and apply a small amount where I want the first magnet. Once that magnet is in place, I use a pencil to mark on the other flap where the other magnet will be placed and adhere that one with the mark down as well. Then I decide on the decorations and embellishments for the front of my mini. I end up using a 2x2 element card, a 3x4 element card that I trim to fit better, and some decorative chipboard. Since the 2x2 card will be handled quite a bit on opening and closing the mini, I make it more sturdy using a heavyweight chipboard on the back side, and then I add an additional piece of patterned paper to that as it will show hanging over the edge. I adhere the 2x2 element card to the sturdy piece of cardstock and trim that, and then apply both of those pieces to the patterned piece of paper and trim again. This way, both sides look great and the magnet closure will be covered. I get all of the elements in place and I add in a decorative doily as well. I adhere everything to the front of the flap, making sure not to apply adhesive to the small square that will be hanging over the front edge. I always apply liquid glue to my chipboard pieces so they have extra staying power. I trim off the corner of that 3x4 element card and add in a sentiment sticker. I trim a piece of adhesive tape so it will fit on the back of that sticker and pop it up just a bit off the front of the envelope. I will be covering the other magnet as well with a strip of patterned paper that I cut to 1.5 inches. Once cut, I use a scallop border punch and scallop the edge. I adhere that down and then trim the excess off the flap. Since there is already so much decoration on the top flap, this bottom one only needs a couple of small embellishments to finish it. For the large rectangle area inside, I want to make a pocket that holds a tag. I pick a patterned paper and you will see that I cut this piece of patterned paper to 5 inches by 6 1/4 inches, but I end up trimming a 1/4 inch from the top, so go ahead and cut your piece to 5 inches by 6 inches. This will allow us to score 1/4 inch on both sides and the bottom. Once those edges are folded in, they will be the adhered edges of our pocket, and it just gives a little bit of extra room. This is where I decide that my pocket is too tall, so I trim 1/4 inch off the top. Again, cut your pocket to 5 inches by 6 inches. Fold on all of the score lines using a bone folder for a crisp edge, and trim the bottom corners to an angle so that there's no interference when they fold up. I use a 1-inch circle punch and punch a half circle at the top of the pocket. Apply adhesive to the folded edge. Once that is done, adhere your pocket to the large rectangular area. For the tag, I cut a heavyweight piece of cardstock to 4 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. I also cut 2 pieces of pattern paper to 4 1/8 inch by 5 5/8 inches. Adhere the pattern paper to each side of the cardstock. You can see once the tag is in the pocket, it sticks up over the top just a little bit. I'm going to partially adhere this large 3 1/4 inch die cut heart to the top so that it hangs over the front of my pocket. Place the tag in the pocket and check to make sure that when you adhere the heart to the top edge that it doesn't interfere with the score line or fold line of the top flap. I use 1/8 inch score tape to adhere just a small portion of the heart to the tag. Then I add some decoration to the front of the heart and a sticker to the back of the tag, and it's all done. Super cute. This Simple Stories collection has a ton of ephemera pieces that are so adorable by themselves, or you can write a message on the back, which is perfect for Valentine's Day. I'm going to stuff a small 3 1/2 inch vellum envelope with these and use it in my mini. I decide where to place this along with some other decorations. And because the envelope is vellum, I use vellum adhesive which won't show like other adhesives through this little envelope. Apply the vellum adhesive to the back or flat side of the envelope and adhere it so that the flap is at the front. Fill it with the ephemera or your favorite mementos. I decide to add pattern paper to the inside of the flap. I trace the shape of the flap onto some pattern paper and then cut about 1/8 inch inside that pencil line. Again, I adhere this pattern piece of paper with vellum adhesive. For the top flap, I have made a small heart banner using some small heart dies that I have glued together onto a piece of colored twine. I'm going to knot the ends and then glue them down to the flap using glossy accents. Once that's done, I add in some large sticker words. I want my vellum envelope to stay close, so I cut small pieces of self-stick Velcro and adhere them. I attach the inside top flap first and then stick the bottom portion to it, remove the adhesive backing, and fold down into place. This assures the bottom piece will be in the right spot. On the left folded flap, I'm going to place this ephemera piece so that it flips up. I cut a strip of paper to 1/4 inch and fold it in half. I measure and cut 2 pieces for the top edge and then adhere them, making sure the fold is at the top edge of the ephemera piece and it will flip open correctly. Once that is adhered to the flap, I add in a couple of decorative embellishments and stickers. On the opposite side, I cut a small piece of patterned paper for a photo frame. This one is 2 1/8 inch by 3 inches. I adhere this down and then layer a chipboard sticker over it. I want to be able to slide a picture under the chipboard, so I use powder to unstick the top portion of the chipboard and then apply a bit more glue to the bottom before adhering it down. I finish this flap with a small word sticker. For the bottom flap, I'm going to be adding a strip of patterned paper topped with a 3x4 element card that I make into a pocket that holds a small tag. I adhere the strip down and then apply 1/8 inch score tape to the back edges of the 3x4 element card. Before adhering anything permanently, place the tag where you want it in the pocket and then apply adhesive on the back side of the pocket where you want the tag to stop. Put adhesive on other parts of the pocket where the tag won't be and adhere everything into place. I did trim my tag a bit so it would fit inside the pocket. Trim off the excess of the strip of paper and the twine on the top flap and add in the embellishments of your choice. For the inside right flap, I'm cutting this heart doily in half and will be adhering it down on both sides of the score line. Once it is in place, I add in decorative stickers. For some dimension, I add a piece of paper to the word sticker so it will stick up a bit over the other sticker. I then put regular adhesive on that piece of paper and adhere it down. I add in a few more stickers, including some tiny hearts. For the left inside flap, I'm going to adhere this square photo frame, but I'm folding this paper instead of cutting it. I mark where I want the score line to be since it's not quite in the center, and then I score it. Fold it on the score line, erase any pencil marks, and glue it down, making sure it fits into the score line of the flap. I add a strip of paper to the left side of the frame. I have deckled the edges with some decorative scissors and apply glue on the outside edge of the frame and the outside edge of the decorative strip. This will allow me to slip a photo underneath that strip of paper. I adhere another chipboard sticker to the corner of the frame, making sure to remove the stickiness from the center and only applying adhesive to both ends. This way a photo slides underneath the chipboard as well. I then add in just a few more embellishments. The last thing I want to add are some shiny red gems. You can see I add in one to the banner, one to the tag, and a couple more to the rest of the album. I also add a couple of gems to the front as well. I also decorate the back of the envelope with a few more stickers. Looks amazing. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you have a wonderful and very happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. See you next time. Bye.